A number of factors are changing the IT security landscape as we know it. Siobhan Byron, president of Forsythe Canada, argues for a managed services approach to security. Siobhan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dave.
When this was pitched to me, somebody used the cloud word.
Okay.
And one of the major objections to the cloud from IT is that lack of visibility into security specifically. How is a managed services approach different from cloud?
Well, I think managed services providers have been around a lot longer. The way in which managed services operates is different. The choices that the customer has and the visibility is a lot different from the cloud, at least the cloud as it is today. So when we take a look at managed service providers, the customers have the option of owning the equipment, having that on premise. They can also choose to lease that equipment and buy it out at any point if they want to. So there's more control and options available to the customer versus the cloud. There's a lot of unknowns. Where is the data going? Where will it reside? Will it reside in Canada? Is it going to the US? Is it going overseas? And who has access to it? So obviously from a security perspective, depending on what the solution is and what the customer is looking to do, there are a lot of concerns from a security perspective that have not yet been addressed from a cloud perspective.
Now, people are increasingly bringing their own mobile devices
Yes.
into the enterprise, a trend to which I object. Does this mean that security has to be more pervasive?
Yes, I think, security, the trend with more devices raises more challenges from a security perspective and for organizations. I think it's the speed of adoption of those devices, the variety of devices, and the pervasiveness, as you mentioned. I mean, that is creating challenges for organizations. The approach, that they use should be similar to what we've used before. We need to understand who's bringing devices in, how we're going to manage them, really take a look at the needs assessment, risk assessment, et cetera, in terms of how to manage them. But is it a challenge for organizations? Yes. And is it becoming a greater challenge? Yes, because of the variety and because of the volume.
Now, it's fair to say that you can't just guard the perimeter anymore.
That is correct, yes. I think, when we talk about BYOD, it's one aspect, that we have to look at in terms of securing endpoints, but there are so many other aspects to security for an organization. We have to look at aspects like DLP, we have to look at SIM, we have to look at all of the threats that are coming in. But this is one aspect that definitely has to be taken care of. When we take a look at DLP, we have to realize that there's data that's potentially leaving an organization every day. It could be as simple as somebody emails a file home to their Hotmail address or so that they can take a look and they can finish some work at night. Well, that's data that's left the building. That's information that's now gone through unsecured access. So.
And do mobile devices just provide a whole lot more exposure?
Mobile devices can provide a whole lot more exposure to an organization, absolutely, because organizations haven't necessarily figured out who's using them for starters, what they're using them for, where they're going. They don't necessarily control the security on those devices. Does somebody have theirs password protected, and what do they have on that device? If it's an iPad or some other tablet that gets lost or left behind on a plane, what is visible to whoever picks that up? There's a lot of concerns for organizations that they need to be thinking of, yes.
Right, so make me a case for managed services over a different approach to security.
Well, I think from a managed services perspective, an organization can use a managed service to as little or as much as they need in order to help augment their business and augment their team. We look at ourselves when we offer a managed service as an extension of a customer's environment and a customer's team. What we can do is we can free their resources up so that they can focus on driving core business initiatives, whether it's helping to drive revenue-related initiatives or helping to improve business performance activities. From a managed services perspective, this is what we do. This is what organizations, MSPs do. They focus on providing this service. So they're obviously doing a very good job at it, and they've they've honed and improved over time. They've got trained resources, certified resources. A lot of organizations have challenges just keeping up with the technology, the certifications, the various upgrades. And they also have a challenge keeping those current in their own environment, being able to make sure that their environment is kept current, is patched, is ready, so that if they have an issue and they need to apply a patch, can they do that? A lot of organizations can't, because what they've done is they've said, okay, this works, but we have limited resources, we have budget constraints, we need to address some of the business-related activities to drive the business, so they focus the resources over there. That is all fine until there's a challenge, and then they find out they're 4 versions behind and they can't react the way they need to. So a managed services provider can certainly help in that. And in addition, we can offer them a fixed monthly price, which means they lock in, they know exactly how much they're paying, what they're getting. They tie managed service providers to SLAs that typically they can't get from their own organization. So they can get better service at a fixed price and use their own resources to drive other initiatives where they really feel that that's going to drive business value and they want to maintain that ownership in-house. And again, it's really about that partnership. How can we enable them?
Siobhan, thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Dave.